Hi. Uh, this lecture is about chapter 23. It's our last chapter of the whole book. It talks about technology, how it's changed things. It's amazing how technology has propelled the world into the future, from trains to airplanes, from cars to a space shuttle. Then it talks about globalization, our book in the 1980s, when the internet and the computer came into being in the World Wide Web. And I would say as Western norms had affected the rest of the world, these technological, sociological, and cultural entities influence not just the world, but the arts world. So to talk about it, in our textbook, it talks about our global art world, which consists of artists, curators, dealers, collectors, journalists, art critics, and other professionals. Everyone is connected. Everything, it's all interconnected in the art world. Galleries, museums, and artists, they appeared on the internet, on online newsletters and art blogs, and we still have those today, such as the websites that I've given to you earlier. Art has come a long way since we started our textbook. I say we went through about every era there could be in art, every type of art, every ism of art. So now we look at contemporary art, and this is mainly in the global sector and in the world, different artists. Our first artist we want to talk about is Yinka Shonehare, and he does installations as interpretations of greed and the stock market and how it affects others. And he states, even though it weighs you down, you still want more. Now he's talking about money and things and everything in the world that we want, that we desire all the time. So this is his take on it, his interpretation of his art. And if you see it on page 539, it's his cake man. And, he makes this statement through his artwork of the guy wearing all the different cakes as hats. That was my cat who just ran by me. Sorry about that. I flinched. But he says, even though it weighs you down, you still want more. That's sort of the antithesis of the Las Vegas work that we saw that says, protect me from what I want. So we've got the greed, and then protect me from what we want. We've got greed on that side too. Two artists taking a same topic but in a different way. So in this artwork, he looks at different batik designs of cloths. And it's interesting to think that they're African designs, but they're really not. They're designs that were made in 1900 by the Dutch. They were imitation batik designs. And it's funny in his work in a way that the traditional dress, the traditional colors and all have been made in Western countries. So even now he's showing us the forth back and forth relationships, forth and back and forth relationships of Western culture to African, and they still exist today. And it's kind of funny, playful in a way, the way he's made his character in the cake. But it shows, it makes his statement. His education for being a Nigerian was also in England and where he lived there too. He lived in the United States and then Nigeria. So again, he has this blend of the Western world and then also in Africa. So all of this influenced him, where he lived, where he was educated. Another artist I'd like to talk about is Nermine Hammam, and she was an Egyptian educated in the United States and England. Okay, and she would take photographs of young, as she called them, little boy soldiers in 2011 in the Egyptian Revolution. Now, the way she described it was that these tanks rolled into town, and instead of the bombs going off with the tank, the exploding whatever with the ammunition, that the young kids would actually pop up out after the lid was open, pop up out of the tanks, and they were just there. They were amazed at what was happening, but they didn't really venture into fighting or, killing anybody at that time. They just kind of pulled in, and here you are. Here's the kids. Well, she took this experience and she made a series of photographs, and it's called, it's spelled Upekkeha, Upekkeha. I think that's how it's pronounced. That is her work. And she is an artist who was driven over issues. And this is certainly an issue of relevance when it came to the Egyptian revolution in our time. She took these photographs and kind of made postcards from them, and I guess she would send them out. And this was her way of getting the word out about these young boys. And sometimes she'd superimpose a different setting, a different type of scene behind the kids in their uniforms. So it was just very bizarre in a way, but, she said what she wanted to say and clearly about the issue of what was happening. Next artist is Imran, Imran, Koishi, Oureshi. And this artist is Pakistani, who initially planned to become a printmaker, but found out about Mughal painting. Mughal court painting in Pakistan was known as a tradition of painting miniatures. And it's very detailed and traditional and old type style of their cultural painting. Well, what Imran had done, he did an interpretation of a brutal murder that took place of two Pakistani young boys, and it's called Blessings Upon the Land of My Love. You see this on page 541 in your books. It's kind of weird in the sense that it shows these blood spots, and you would think that it's blood until you look at them closer up, and there's actually flowers there. So maybe he's trying to say that after all of death, there's actually life. Maybe he's leaving it up to your imagination as to why there's blood there. And then there's this wonderful, flower. I shouldn't say strange, but it makes you think. And he wasn't allowed, I think I've read that he wasn't allowed to make such paintings until about 2 months before he graduated from this 2-year-long program, this school. So that was pretty in-depth, too, about what he was making and what he wanted to say with his art. Then we have an artist from, where did I say this? from India. I've got the right page. You know me with pages, I sort of get them kind of messed up. This is an Indian artist by the name of Subha Gupta. Gupta is his last name. His artwork, data, and we've really talked about data a lot in this course. He had a reason for maybe naming it that way, but he took stainless steel, and if you see the banyan tree that's in our book, the illustration on page 542, stainless steel is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. Utensils are used for daily things like cooking and cleaning, forks, spoons, knives, whatever. They have that in India. I mean, they are just flat out, everything has steel, stainless steel. They don't have a lot of clay pots. They don't have a lot of copper pots. But they're known for stainless steel. So he went ahead and took these objects. And for him, it shows the society's symbols of progress. All right. And he took them and he says, he put them together. There are times where there is nothing other than what is around us that makes us who we are. And he thinks, and he says, his sculpture is universal in its appeal. Well, it's really kind of funky to see that stainless steel banyan tree and then all these other objects on it. But if you think about our assemblages of what we've done creatively in our classroom, yeah, we took everyday objects, what was around us, in order to make art. So it's really not that far-fetched an idea, because we've done it. We've taken objects and made an art piece out of it. So that sums it up pretty much about that artist and what he wanted to show as symbolic to his country. There's another artist, Chinese artist, Feng Mengibo. And this artist, which those of you who are younger might really appreciate, because it's actually an interactive video game installation. The Long March, it's called, Restart, on pages 542 and 543. It's about this artist. And this interactive video game installation had many different things to it. You can say that it was inspired by the overthrow of the Chinese government by the communist Chairman Mao, and that was in 1949. So he's going back to things that have happened in China's history, bringing them out into this interactive type of, it's an installation, it's an artwork. So it interacts with you on the level of like different things, different icons, different scenes, different characters from video games at the time. I think you'll recognize some of them. Then it just sort of, our textbook says that communism meets capitalism. So we have these icons and all that I mentioned versus the Chinese landmarks, slogans, and characters. And it's just kind of fun. It reminds me of Andy Warhol or something, just taking images like that, taxis, whatever. I can't remember his name. Mario. That's who's in there. Mario. Okay. It looks like Mario on the installation as well. But it also talks about, it shows, it's talking about, it shows images of Red Square in Moscow and also about the moon landing of the United States. So it's got our American moon landing in there. Let's see. Have I gone through these already? I guess I have. I guess I haven't missed anyone, well, your homework really actually has one question. Which artist appeals to you and why? And it doesn't have to be long, just, a few sentences. Which artist appeals to you and why? I always want to know what you're thinking. And please send these in. Send these answers in. There's no other way that I can know that you're absorbing the information or what I say on a lecture. Well, my cat's playing with my foot. Excuse me. Excuse me a minute. Hey, hey. Okay. It's just clawing at my foot. All right. Hopefully you've read this chapter through, but I had asked you to read it to the bottom of the second paragraph on page 545. But hopefully you can read it to the end. I'm just sort of taking this slower, and I'm having the chapters kind of downplayed, breaking them down. I'm not downplayed, but I'm breaking them down because we've now elongated our sessions to December 10th. So for next week, it's going to be, we'll cover the Cambodian artist Sophie Pai, Japanese artists Kohinawa and Takashi Murakami. And to think that I would understand how to say Japanese words having lived in Japan for almost a year. But, Ohio gozaimasu, I remember some phrases, but I can't just say the name like that. Kohi Naha Takashi Murakami. There we go, Murakami. So that'll be on December 3rd. And I just want to remind you, too, that because we have played it out later, as far as like the 10th is the last day, please get your 4-page paper in by December 8th. So you're given a little bit more time, and we'll just play it out like it is. Okay? Hope that you're feeling better. That some of you who know people who have COVID, hope that you're coping with things and that things just get better. It's been a good Thanksgiving holiday, and now we look forward to Christmas. So I want to thank you for all you've been doing, and I will see you for Thursday's lecture. All right? Okay. Bye-bye.